to value people. Here's the deal. That's why I said we teach our kids to obey. We don't teach our kids to honor. You know what racks my nerves? When I walk in, this is the one requirement I have from Kenji. What's my requirement from you when I walk in the house?
To say hi.
To come down, stop what you're doing, and do what? Say, give me a hug. Why? Because I don't want Kenji just to learn obedience. I want him to learn that I am more important than whatever the heck it is he is doing right now. I don't care if you're in the middle of a game. Unless you're doing something with mommy, unless you're dying, when I walk in the door, I have one expectation. Timmy lived through the same expectation when he wasn't an adult. When I walk in the door, what do I want from you, Tim?
Water? No.
Yes? Timmy knows. See? A water. I want Timmy to stop what he's doing and basically greet me. Say, hey, Dad. Or back then, hey, Jansen. Hey, what's up? And get me a water. He knows. Same thing with Kenji. Kenji right now, he's at the age where I'm like, Kenji, you better get down from there and greet me. Now, he may not understand it right now, but what I'm teaching him is value. See, kids, and I'm talking about all of us as kids because we all still got parents, except maybe for you guys. But for those of us that have parents, do you just obey your parents and respect your parents? Or do you see them as more important than you? See, the root cause of selfishness is a lack of honor. Why? Because when you're selfish, who do you think about first?
Yourself.
Me. See, this is what our generation is going through. Think about it. When parents walk in the door, what's the first thing they hear from kids?
What's for dinner?
What's for dinner? I want. It's not solely the kid's fault though, because again, we do not teach our kids to really honor in our home. We teach our kids law. This is what we teach them, law. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Instead of teaching them value. You know what we should really be telling our kids as parents? I am the most important thing in your life right now. Your mom is the most important thing in your life right now. Cassidy should learn that Rob and Tracy are the most important people in her life right now. Not because she has to obey them. Lillian, Sienna, and Mila should learn that Louie and Rachel are more important than their very existence. Oh, that's a stab in the heart. Especially to our kids nowadays. What do you mean they're more important than my life? They are. That's the whole concept of honor. They're more valuable than you are. My parents are more valuable than me. It's the first commandment with a promise. Again, there's a difference between honor and obedience. This is why honor doesn't want to be taught in our culture anymore, because we equate honor with obedience. You can disobey and be honorable. And we will go into that. You can disobey the king and honor the king. You can obey your parents and not honor them. In fact, a lot of our kids obey their parents, but they don't honor their parents. Because again, how many of our kids can really say, how many of us in this room can really say that we feel our parents are more important than us? And we treat them as such.
How does this relate to grandparents?
Well, parents, children, authority. It all boils down to that.
How can you teach your grandchildren when they come into your house to honor their grandfather?
That's going to be the same way that we're kind of teaching now. It's the same thing. You can do it with the little stuff first. It's the same thing I'm doing with Kenji. I make it, when my wife walks in, I tell Kenji the same thing. Go downstairs, greet your mom.
You do that with my mom too.
I do that, yeah.
Or with like Pastor and Cheryl.
With guests. I will get decent.
But you was raised in a different culture.
Exactly. But remember, as Christians, are we supposed to stick with our culture or remove our culture and embrace God's culture?
The reason I'm saying this is because sometimes the grandchildren will come over, and because he can't see or hear part of, they won't acknowledge him.
And again, and here's the deal, it's not just the grandkids, it's all of us. We as a culture do that though. How many times do we walk in a room and not value people?
That's true.
That's why I said this is a universal problem in our culture. It's just that this generation is more vocal about it.
Yeah.
That's really the only difference, because we were raised in the law. We were just simply taught that you respected your parents by obeying them. You could begrudgingly do it, right? And that's why we have this concept that if our parents are in the wrong, we will still obey them. Well, that's not honoring.
Right.
There's a difference between obedience and honor. There's a difference between respect, because look at what the world has given honor. Now it's merited. Do you know that honor is not merited? It doesn't matter if that person, it doesn't matter if your parent is a jerk. This was hard for me to understand, mind you. Doesn't matter if your parent is a jerk. You have to value them. You know what's happening in the world right now with the cops and this whole racial thing? I'll tell you what it is. It's the lack of value. We have one group of people who don't feel valued, and then we have a group of people who are also now being attacked and no longer valued. We have two groups of people that are being pitted against each other by making them lack their value. That's really what it boils down to. Honor. If our culture understood honor, there wouldn't be racial profiling. Right? Why? Because honor, the value of people is the same. Why? Because let's really understand the foundation of honor. The foundation of honor is grace. Which means what? You're a sinner. I'm a sinner. You're a murderer. I am not. Who's more valuable in the eyes of God? The same. They're the same because of grace. Because it's not anything that you do. But see, we live in a culture where we appropriate value. We appropriate value. Well, that person is less valuable than the other person. Because we do not understand honor. See, why should we honor people? It goes to the why. Why? Biblically. What did God say about honoring people? Why should we honor them?
Because we value them.
But why should we value people? Because God said, but why? Let's go back to the roots of holiness. Who created people?
God.
God. In other words, we value people because
God.
God.
He's our king.
Because God. Because whose image were they created? God's. And at the end of the day, even if they're not Christian, do they have an opportunity to become holy like you and me? Yes. So therefore, does their value become any less? No. Do you guys see where this is? How different? See, like I said, we even say it, I won't respect you if you don't respect me. That's true with the word respect. But with the word honor, there's no condition. I value you for the mere fact that you were what? Created by God. You know what 1 Peter says? 1 Peter says, honor all people, love the brotherhood. See that? Honor all people, and then love your fellow Christians. But all people, Christian or not, honor them, fear God, and honor the king. You know which king he was talking about? No.
Oh, the one that
King Nero.
Yeah.
You know who King Nero was?
Killed Christians.
King Nero was the guy who would crucify Christians upside down and burn them. You know what he told the Christians? Honor that king. Whoa, wait a minute. Because again, honor is not merited. It is simply value. Value. That is your value. As a human, your value. So now, let's go back to honor at home. Because this is where children will learn it. This is where society will learn it. So what does honor in the home look like then? Well, first, every single one of us was a child. All of us. Kenji will one day become a parent, but first he's a child. Rob and Tracy are child. Were once a child, still children. Sister Betty and Dr. Lester are still children. Louie and Rachel, still children. Me and my wife, still children. Even if our parents are dead, we are still children. We may not all become parents, but we are all children. So, the first part of honor is to understand how to honor your parents. Period. That's where honor stems from. Honoring your parents. If I want to teach Kenji to honor me, I have to honor my parents. Because I will not be able to teach Kenji, nor will I be able to practice honor if I don't honor my parents. This is where the practice comes in. This is practice. So, for my parents, you want your kids to grow up right, start having them honor you. Practice it. What does this mean to honor? This means you give your parents value. This means when you see your parents, you treat them like your Jordans. They're important. That means when you speak to them, how will you speak to Michael Jordan? How will you speak to him? Or the Dalai Lama? How will you speak to them? How will you speak to Justin Bieber?
She'd be screaming the whole time.
No, she would be crying.
Yeah.
Right? But on a serious note, how do you speak for us who work? How do you speak to your bosses? Unfortunately, that's not always applicable now, even in our time. But the truth and reality is, how do you speak to important people? Let's start with speech. Come on, how do you speak to them? Mark, if Michael Jordan was here, how would you speak to him? Would you answer him back? No. If he told you that you were doing something wrong in basketball, what would you do? You would listen, right? Right? If Michael Jordan walked in here right now, and unexpectedly, what would you do? What would you try to figure out right away? Why is he here? And then what are you going to do? Ask him to sign your shoes, right? Because he's important. And then what else? Say Michael Jordan is sweating and you can tell he's thirsty. What would you do? You would ask him what he needs. Right? Because we understand the value, right, of speech. See, back to the spirit, you'd be gentle in your speech. You would be kind in your speech. You would have a lot of self-control in your speech. You would have a lot of patience in your speech. You would have a lot of love in your speech. Right? Why? Because they're valuable. See, now again, don't get me wrong, okay? For my older ones, this doesn't mean you take abuse, okay? Because now we go, well, what if my parent was abusive? My parent was abusive. You can be honorable and set boundaries. You can be honorable and not take what they're doing to you. You can be honorable and disobedient. Look at the three friends and the king. They honored the king, but they disobeyed him. I will not obey half the stuff my father has told me because, according to my father, I should have divorced my wife. I shouldn't have married her. But I honored him. You know how I honored him? Because I knew it was important to him. I asked him for permission. When he disowned me, I wrote him a letter. And I told him, I forgive you, I love you. And when you're ready to reown me, hopefully you reown me. Yeah, see, when you honor someone, there's always forgiveness. Because if they're important to you, you're gonna forgive them. When you honor someone in your speech, again, we're back to speech, it will always be about them. Hurtful words will go away. If I honor Louis, I'm not going to tell him, say Louis stinks. Right? I'm not going to tell him, dude, you stink. That's not honoring. But I can honor him in truth. So if I really honored Louis and valued him, what do you think I will do? I'll go, hey man, can we talk to the side?
You should go swimming.
I'm like, you know what, man?
With
You know, we've been really good friends, and man, you really need to smell yourself because you need to wear deodorant or something. If you need help, man, just let me know. We could go swimming, you know,
With a bar of soap.
with a bar soap, right? But I will not embarrass him because I honor him. I still told him the truth. You guys see the difference? I didn't embarrass him. I didn't say in front of his kids and everybody, dude, you stink, man. You need deodorant. Right? See, sarcasm is a sign of dishonor. But let's be real. Let's be real. We all have fun at this, right? Okay? I'm not saying we're all gonna be fluffy butterflies and bunnies, okay? That's not what I'm saying. Alright? Now, if Louis was sarcastic to me, we're friends. That doesn't devalue me. Alright? That does not devalue me. But here's one thing. If Louis were sarcastic to me right now, in this setting, that would devalue. Right? Because again, honor with your speech is all about them. So kids, let me ask you this. When you talk to your parents, is it about your parents' feelings or is it about you? And this is to everybody because again, we're all children. If you want to practice honor, let's start with the speech. When your parents first walk in, instead of saying, Mom, Dad, what's for dinner? Mom, Dad, it's so hot. Mom, Dad, where are we going? Your first words should be honor. Hey, Mom, Dad, how are you guys today? Hey, Mom and Dad, what did you guys do at work? Hey, Mom and Dad, do you need anything? Guess what? Through love, we serve them with our speech. That's just speech. Now let's go to actions. Like I said, we program our kids' obedience instead of honor. See, here's the deal. If we value our parents and we go home, here's a serious question. Even to my little kids, even to you guys. If we value our parents and we go home and we see that our room is trashed, and we value them, and we think they're important and what they think mattered, what would we do without being told? Why? Because let me tell you something. If Michael Jordan walked in here and he said, I'm going to your house, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Deep clean.
Deep clean! Why?
Because you don't want them walking on filth.
But then why is it that we're parents, we're okay with that? We're not okay with it when a celebrity walks in our house. Why? Because we value them. But with our own home, this is why Jesus said, a prophet is without honor in his home. This is the truth. Parents have no honor in their home. You know, I'm just gonna be real here. I'm just gonna be real here. Alright? A lot of parents are big shots. I know a lot of parents that are big shots. And I watch how their kids treat them. It's horrible. I know one of the kids of one of our leaders in the community, without naming them, right? And I watch their kids. This leader would never be treated the way their kids treat them. Because again, a prophet is without honor in their home. That's why I said, that's the funny thing. I asked you guys, what would you guys do if a celebrity walked into your house? You would deep clean your house. Because Alex said it. I don't want them walking in filth. Then why are you okay with your parents walking in filth?
We don't value.
Because we don't give them the same weight. Value. Right? In fact, as kids, we resent cleaning our rooms. We resent doing chores for our parents. We resent it. We hate it. We want to get paid for it.
Like what your parents say when they room, the first thing she says,
Who's coming over? Right? Because again, we have to practice honoring our parents first. Value your parents. That means if your parents are tired, are you going to bother them? No. But really, in our house, we can all admit to this as parents. It seems like the more tired we are, the more all we hear from our kids is what? I want this, I want that, I'm bored, I'm this, I'm this. It's all about I. See, when you honor, it's not about I, it's about them. It's about you. It's about the other person. That's why, through love, serve. We cannot understand this till we understand honor. You can't serve till you understand honor. Right? Honor your parents. Value your parents. Not just obey them. Value them. Treat them like they're important. I'm guilty of this. I honor my parents, but not to the degree that I would honor other people. Let me tell you why. Because if somebody important called my phone, guess what I would do? I would stop everything I'm doing and answer it. But with my parents, what do you think I do? I ignore it. In reality, though, what should I be doing? I should tell them, hey, mom and dad, I'm really in the middle of something. Is it important? And you know, that kind of, have you guys seen that Geico commercial where the secret agent is running around and he's beating bad guys and the mom calls him? I'm like, really, mom? Like right now? And then Geico says, parents, they always call at the wrong timing. It's what they do. Right? And then the mom's like, what are you doing? Are you like in the middle? And you know, this guy is like getting gunned down and everything. That's what parents do. But see, that commercial shows honor. See, that guy was in the middle of a mission, life-threatening, and what does he do? He answers the phone. He doesn't stop what he's doing. He's still beating bad guys up. It's a funny commercial, but it's the way we ought to value people. See, like I said, I'm guilty of that. I see my mom calling, and I don't feel like answering, I won't answer. But again, if I really valued my parents the way I should value them, man, if somebody calls my phone and I know it's important, I answer it.
Or roll your eyes when you answer.
Again, value your parents. See, the next thing about honor, right, is honor your spouse. Why do I say spouse? Because in the Bible, both instances were said. Peter says, honor your wife, and then of course to the ladies, you know, the whole submission and all of that. So really, we can summarize this as honor your spouse. So for those of you that are married, Again, it goes back to value. My wife used to say a statement that used to bother me. She no longer does it. She used to say that, she would serve her dad, but not Toby. Not her husband.
He wasn't my dad.
But again, right, from a biblical perspective, that's really wrong. But most of us are in that same mindset with our spouses. Most of us will stop what we're doing for other people, but we won't do it for our spouses. In fact, we get irritated with our spouses. That's the truth. That's the truth. It's become a big marriage joke. The honey-do list. Or the wives having to do it because the husbands take forever to do it. If I ask him to do it, he'll get done 10 years later. It's a big joke. Right? I mean, you watch it in our culture. Oh, here comes my wife again. We watch it in our culture. Everybody loves Raymond. One of the best episodes they had was when Raymond went golfing and his wife was complaining about it, so he took his wife golfing. Right? And you see, she made him go. And you see the difference in value. And they began to understand each other. Why? Because as spouses, let's be real, phones are the most irritating thing in the world as spouses. Because this is what we do. This is what we do as spouses. Wait, babe. Huh? What'd you say? Because again, value. And how many times have we really dismissed our spouses in our heads because we think that something is more important than them? I'm guilty of that. Your mom's just freaking out. Come on, I'm just being transparent. Or as spouses, we say this. We say this as spouses. Here's the other one that we like to say. Like, why do I gotta do that? I serve you all the time. When you gonna serve me?
I had to repent the other day.
I mean, seriously.
There's 3 boys in my home. There's no reason why I should throw the trash.
But again, why? Because again, we think of our spouse from an I perspective. What are you gonna do for me? We even look at this from a marriage perspective. What are kids taught? Does he make you happy? Does she make you happy? Marry them. That's wrong. That is the most unbiblical pre-marriage advice you can give. It's not about if my wife makes me happy. It's about whether I make her happy. Is this the person I want to make happy the rest of my life? Is this the person I'm willing to give up my happiness for? And if I can say yes to that, then yes, we can get married. But see, what is perpetuated in media? What we always say, does she make you happy? Do you feel all this? That's problematic. Because the moment she no longer makes me happy, I no longer value her. Because her value is dependent on what she does. But again, in the Bible, does your value depend on what you do? No, it's dependent on the fact that what? We are created by God. The same way holiness is, because it is founded under grace. The one advice I will give both my boys before they get married, the one thing they'll hear from me is this. Is this the girl that you are willing to give up all your dreams and happiness for? And if they can't say yes to it, I will not tell them to get married. Because as a man, as a husband, you have to be willing to give up your dream to serve your wife. And as a wife, you have to be willing to give up your dream to serve your husband. That's why the Bible says what? Equally yoked. You have to be equally yoked.
Because eventually you'll get the same dream.
Because eventually, ideally, if we're both living for each other's dreams, both our dreams come true. That's why equally yoked is so important. But again, as spouses, we don't honor our spouses. We honor our cars more than our spouses. We honor our money more than our spouses. We honor our boss more than our spouses. Thankfully, I am my wife's boss.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, you see it all the time in marriages where the husband is jealous of the boss. Because the wife will serve the boss. Or, here's another one. We honor television pastors more than our spouses. We see that all the time too. You know, we honor our friends more than our spouses. How many times have you said, let's all just be real and we can laugh about it because we're all transparent. Oh, I said that to you and you don't believe me. But so-and-so said that to you, but all of a sudden it's true. Right? And all the spouses either begrudgingly laughs or knows it's the truth. It is the truth. Never. Really?
So what happened?
It happens all the time. Why? What does it really undermine? Why does that hurt us as spouses? Because we don't feel valued. Because we feel like our spouses think the other person is more intelligent than us. It goes back to our value. That's why, wives, it is important you make your man feel like he is a king. That is so important. That's why the Bible said what? Submission. Because the husbands need to feel that. And husbands, if you really read the Bible, you have to honor your wife. Honor your wife. To my young ones, this is a great lesson for you to learn now. You have to treat your wife as if she was your queen. Even says it there. You wash them with the word. Because as a vessel, they were originally considered the weaker vessel. Again, if we go back to the biblical roots, they weren't intended that way.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
But again,
Take care of me.
do you guys know that in reality, if you look at divorces, people blame it on finances, on this and that. But really, it boils down to honor. Because here's the deal. Financial situations often bring out the lack of honor in the home. Because finances is what's valuable to our culture. So when financial problems come in, it shows which is more valuable to either spouse. Thus the conflict arises. But it really always boils down to honor. If I make my wife feel valued and she makes me feel valued, why would I look for someone else? You know why people cheat on each other? Most of the time, there are some other issues. But most of the time, they're unhappy because of the lack of value.
You said preparation somewhere. I can't remember
The law.
where. The
It's
law.
preparation.
Is preparation. Well, for the youth, honoring your mom and your dad is preparing you to learn how to honor your spouse. Everything we do is a learning experience, and so Jansen teaching my boys how to honor me means that Timothy won't have a problem honoring his wife because he's so used to honoring me that it's just going to pass right through to his wife. So it's always in preparation. What we're teaching you guys now is always for not the right now, it is, but also for the later part in your guys' life. And you guys have an opportunity right now. We were never taught this honor. It was just you honor because you're gonna get a spanking if you don't.
Yeah, it's obedience.
But hearing all of this is like, man, this is This is great fruits for you guys, especially now you're getting to that age of dating. You know, it's valuing yourself as well. That if you see him talking to his mom all crazy,
I was gonna go there.
break up with him. I mean, because he
To all
will
my
never
girls.
value you.
To all my girls, Mackenzie, Lily, and Sienna, if you and Mila and Cassidy, if y'all ever decide to date, all right, here's the number one thing. What? If you're ever allowed to date, good point. All right, if you're ever allowed to date, right? Here's what you look for. Listen, Lily. Listen, Sienna. Listen, Mac. Look how that boy treats their parents. I will guarantee you, how they treat their parents is how they're eventually going to treat you. Eventually. In the long run, when all the butterflies go away. When all the butterflies go away. Right? Because at first, see, that boy will treat you, oh. Right? I will do anything for you. Oh, you want me to deliver McDonald's to your house? Oh, at midnight. I know all the Facebook stuff.
Like you called it.
Oh, you hungry, baby? Oh, right? I mean that's flowers for no occasion. You know, I'm just gonna get you flowers for no reason. But here's the reality. When all that goes away, they're gonna treat you the way they treat their parents. You know, mama's boys are great husbands. I hate to put it that way. Unless they can't detach from their mom. Okay? There's the unless. But reality of it is, here's why they'll make great husbands. Because if they treat their moms with honor, you can be guaranteed that's their standard for a wife. Right? Same thing to my boys. Boys, when you're allowed to date, the one thing you gotta look for is the same thing. Look how that girl treats their parents. Because I'm telling you, eventually, how they were raised at home is how they're gonna treat you. So if a girl doesn't know how to honor their parents, guess what? They will not honor you. Or it'll be a struggle. Because again, this is the practice.
Well, that's why we have so many divorces right now then.
Yeah. Because there's no honor between parents and children.
Right.
And then two selfish people get married.
Yeah.
And what happens when two selfish people get married? They produce selfish fruits.
Yeah.
If they get kids, they produce selfish kids. If they don't get kids, they just produce a selfish home.
Yeah.
You cannot be selfish and be honoring. See, honor is absent of self. It's absent of self. Because again, if I honor you, you are more important than me. This is how honor goes in the home. Right? So, again, value. Not just obedience. Now, is obedience part of honor? Yes. Respect is part of honor. Obedience is part of honor. Right? But that is not honor. Those are part of honor.
So you have to do them?
You have to obey them, but it's not a have to when you honor them. You obey them because you value them. So again, in conclusion, talking about honor. Right? Talking about honor. This, again, is this a democratic concept?
No.
It's a what?
Kingdom.
Kingdom. A theocracy. A kingdom. a monarchy. Right? And again, where does honor start? Home. Right now, here's what the Bible says about who to honor. Right? Let me tell you. The Bible says to honor. What's the first person you should honor? Parents. When it comes to people, okay? We're talking people. I mean, it's obvious you honor God. So we honor parents. What else?
Authority.
Honor authority. You're supposed to honor your brothers and sisters in Christ. You're supposed to honor each other. Peter goes to saying honor everyone. Right? It also says to honor your governing authorities. It says honor your spouse. Right? It also says there's only one place in the Bible where there's a different kind of honor given. It's the only time you hear double honor, and these are the elders of the church. Everybody else is honor, and we'll go into that later on. Alright? They're considered double honor. And then you're supposed to honor your employee and also honor your employer. Right? Did we miss anything here? When we think about honor, is there a certain type of people we should not honor? According to the Bible, literally. At some point, it even says everyone. Now, is there a specific, do they have to have good character? Doesn't say that there.
Probably said honor the king because he was Jewish.
Oh yeah. He said honor the king, and he was talking about Nero. That's a hard one. Right? But see, again, it all stems from which honor first though? Parents. If you do not know how to honor and value your parents, none of this would exist. Because that's your practice. That's why the Bible gives it, again, our first thing about honor, right? Honor your father and mother so that you may, what? Live a long life. And then when we ask the reason why do we honor? What's the biblical reason why we honor? Because they were created by who? God. It's nothing other than that. No special reason. They're created by God. And again, when we look at the definition of honor, is it what the world says it is now? This is the now. Is it this at all? No. This is literally a watered down version of honor. Everything we know about honor now is literally nothing compared to what honor is in the Bible. What is the meaning of honor again in the Bible?
Give value.
Value. Weight. In other words, to treat them more importantly than who? Yourself. So, like I said, to conclude this, especially to my kids, and like I said, all of us here are children because we all have parents, right? Honor. Honor. Practice it at home. Like I said, this isn't obedience. Treat your parents as if they're the most important people in the world. When you see them, stop what you're doing. Honor them. The best way to put it treat your parents like they're your favorite celebrity. Treat your parents like they're your favorite celebrity. So, to Mackenzie, treat your parents like they're Justin Bieber. Have them sign your shoes, Mark. Right? Figure out what they need. If you see your dad sweat, give him water. Right? I know it's funny, but that's the truth. Like I said, we honor objects, but we don't honor people. So, questions, violent reactions, comments, things that did not sit well with us. Like I said, this is not a democracy mindset. This is a kingdom mindset.
What about the devil? Should we honor the devil?
No, because he's not part of this. That's a good question. But no. No questions?
No.
No comments?
No.
We're hungry? Alright, so we're going to do the communion. Right? And then we'll do that.